All right, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:30. All right, establishing forum. Brian Charles, I am here. Julie Alexander.
Here.
Lynn.
Here.
Marissa is gonna be out today. Andrew. Here. Andy.
Here.
Kathleen.
Here.
All right, we got a quorum. Do we have anybody else besides the two that have signed up? All right, we've got, I believe it says Carl Reeves.
I received something in the mail that we're going to have a new subdivision put in on the River Run, and my first question is this a fait accompli, or as my grandfather said, is this a done deal? It's not unusual to find out something's going to happen 5 minutes before it happens. If not, how many meetings have council or staff had with landowners and developments? Has water or lack thereof taken into account? Please don't say Canyon Lake. Please don't say Blanco River. The river is dry. I can walk there and tell you that this morning. Has the infrastructure been taken into account? And River Run already carrying too much traffic. Is the primary shortcut for trucks and other commercial traffic to avoid the Highway 281 stoplights. Traveling to and from high school also makes, the high school makes it its back door. The Flat Rock generator generates in the warm weather amount of people that you just absolutely can't believe. Infrastructure for the entire city needs more work before we start building more houses. The official floodplain for this area, as we all know, is a joke. In 2015, ×2, I came within 5 feet of getting water in my house on the Blanco River. That puts the property in question in the floodplain, no matter what somebody told you. I was there and saw it. What is Blanco getting out of this? Projected taxes will never cover the cost. Austin developers just eat up land and we never see them again. Are the short-term rentals prohibited? We've already been down that road once this year. A group tried to sneak a house in as a short-term rental. What's this going to be? They're going to build them up and say, oh, we were just kidding. They're not residences, they're short-term rentals. There are some of the most beautiful live oak trees in this county sitting on this property. Has anybody checked with authorities before the developers go in and cut them down? Will this put more stress on our overworked police? Fulcher and River Run is already a speedway with commercial and school traffic. The new 25-mile-per-hour signs are for decoration only. We're closing. Austin, as well as San Antonio, were once the crown jewels of our wonderful state. They are now malignant metastatic growths, which are destroying everything which made Texas great. And we must continue to closely examine every one of these new properties, both large and small, so that someday our children don't wake up and don't recognize the city that we live in. Thank you very much.
Just out of a point of clarification, what property are you talking about?
River Run. The one with the
I got it.
The 12 Elm Street?
No.
No. Okay.
6-1.
Got it. Okay.
I'm glad we all know the property.
Yeah, just trying to clarify what we're talking about, so, thank you. Okay, the next one I've got, I believe it says Rick Montalago.
Longo, speaking on the issue of 12 Elm Street, Oster family. I live adjacent to that property. And they rezoned that property. You know, farming, I think it's a good thing. Retirement. And I think it's, I'm in favor of that.
Do you live within the block?
Right on the street.
So you're not within the block, you're across the street?
Correct.
Thank you, sir. All right, so we will close. And that's go to the open public hearing.
Yeah, you're gonna open the public hearing for the rezone.
Yes. This is gonna be you.
Well, I'm gonna actually speak about it in the business.
Okay, so did anybody want to, I've only got the two, so that's, finish that, so then I guess we will close the public hearing and we will go to old business. So the approval minutes for April 3rd. This has been the one that we've worked on for a little while now. Does anybody have, we've got the minutes. Does anybody have anything additional that they want to add to it that they remember? This was the one that we discussed, the church getting the electronic sign. Yes. Sir. Anything outstanding beyond kind of what you're seeing on here that we need to record in the actual? Okay. So when I went over this, I think we've got most of the notes, but I just wanted to give everybody a chance to kind of comment anything. Oh. Okay. All right. So then you'll type that up and we'll work on that for the next one. Okay. So approval of minutes for August 7th. Anything anybody wants to add? Anyone have any questions? So,
Yeah, it's on the back. Toward the end. That's okay.
this is one of those
Yeah, it'll also be all like. Sure, I quoted every time. Oh, I tried to short. I tried to short. Yeah, they'll say draft and that means to read them for you.
That's speed. All right, do we have a motion on those minutes?
So I think we need to.
Yes.
So you're on. It's hard. So I make a motion to approve the minute from August 7th with the one change to add Kathleen, replacing Cargill for the subcommittee for the sign ordinance.
Wait a second.
All in favor? Any discussion? No? All right. That is best. Let's move on. So now we're going to Do consideration, discussion, take possible action on the approval of rezoning from R2 to R3 on 12 Elm Street.
I'm gonna need to switch. Someone actually works on it. We'll get some feedback. Okay. All right, so this is a rezone request from R2 to R3 for Stephen and Melinda Doster. Let's see if I can see a little better picture of where it is. So it's on, the home is on Main Street. And then, which is that right there. That's it. That's right it. And then excuse me, on Elm Street, on Main Street, there we go. On Main Street, there's the little, the brick or stucco house. And then, stone therapy house.
It used to be possibly.
So, and this is what it looks like on the survey. It is approximately 22,000 square foot. And the reason for the rezone, I'm gonna kind of explain where I think you were when you did the map back in 2021. You zoned Star 2, and I think the reason why was because at the time, if you look at Blanco CAD, which would be this, it's one lot. But if you actually look at what's on the ground, is what I just showed you, so I'm probably busy here. There's actually 3 structures. Okay, so essentially, you've got with R3 and an R2, there's a big difference between the siding, which is 11,000 square foot for R2, 6,500 for R3. And then the building lines and all the setbacks, all those are different as well. But with the R3, then this can only work. But I want to mention that basically nothing changes. The existing homes stay the same on both Elm and on both Main, and the business stays there as well. The difference would be ownership. If you have 3 lots, they can be sold to 3 different people. As one lot, it's one owner, and that's the really big difference. So let me go back to, sorry, couldn't remember exactly where we were at on all this, but we go back to, go ahead and see if I can show you the difference. So R2, 11,000. You can see what the minimum lot width is supposed to be. You can see the minimum front yard is supposed to be 30. There's 20. So as you know, a lot of homes and businesses were built way before the zoning, or maybe the zoning wasn't looked at. I don't know. But what's existing now is existing. So R3 would make this an easier fit to kind of fit everything that's already there. That's kind of where we're at. We go back to the zoning map. I'll show you. Oops. Bear with me for a minute here. Okay. Zone out a little bit. The project. So the whole block has to be zoned one zone. And the reason why is because if you only did half a block, that because it's a spot zone. So we want to do the whole block. Right now, there are 2 homes. There's a home on the corner of this, basically an alley. It's an unnamed street. There's a home on one side and there's a home on the other. That's the greenhouse. That's right across from Josie's. If you look at the zoning around here, this is GUI, which is government and institutional, it's a church. And across the street is R5. So this whole area does have more higher density residential. So that is why as we get this, if this is something that the planning commission later on council wants to approve as R3, it would actually work. And the reason why I recommended to Doster to ask for R3 and not R5 is really because usually from a community standpoint, it's easier to go from R2 to R3 then our plat would also allow commercial. Because then that might be a little harder for the residents to swallow. So usually you want to go R2, R3, or R1, R2. Generally don't want to jump to R5. But you could do R5 here as well. But that is a reason for that. And I think I kind of captured everything. Staff recommends the P&Z, they recommend approval to city council for this zoning request.
What's the size of those two lots just north of there?
What are the size?
Yeah, just north of their property, maybe no size of your lot.
Mine is,
Well, no, the greenhouse.
You talk about these two lots
Yes,
here.
right there.
I. Base of it, my piece of it.
8,000, so they're already under 11,000 dollars. Yeah, they don't fit.
Essentially, if it was an R3, it would actually fit that.
Right.
Nothing ever perfect in zoning, and I didn't create zoning.
I get it.
Essentially,
I just wanted to clarify that none of it is 11,000 square feet to start with. This
R3 would fix some of the issue, and I will let you know that, after this, Mr. Gosser would need to do a plat, to actually separate. So this is just the zoning, this has nothing to do with the plat, but the plat will be administrative plat because there are no dedication of easements or right of way. So this would be just, you would not see this again.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask. So we're not spot zoning only this property. We're gonna do an entire block, which includes the two homes north of them and
Yes, ma'am.
the one south.
Correct.
But with this, if they're required to get a plat done through planning and zoning, and then like that one house is really close to the property line. So wouldn't we want to just approve all of that here so they don't have to come back? So wouldn't the request really be a rezone with a replat and any setback encroachments all in one? So they're just then go to the property appraiser?
So let me go ahead and answer all three questions. He hasn't submitted for a plat because this is, so the answer to this is yes, since it's 3 lots or less, 5 lots or less, he could actually just do an administrative plat that wouldn't have to go back to council, but it would have to go back to administration to review. Your question is, could they just do all plat all at once? Well, they could, but I think Mr. Doster is just on one of his property now. Yes, you're right. If they're going to do his 3, they can just do that whole block. But the problem with doing that block is that would be 6 different blocks. That would be 6 lots, and then that would kick it into the preliminary and final. And I think he's just want to do that. So it'll just come back to me for administrative.
No, I was talking about on their property, anything else that when they go to split those 3, that are gonna cause them any issues for setbacks, and wouldn't we wanna just do that right now?
So
To recognize that could be an issue, but at this point, the setback, particularly on that one, it looks like it's sort of on the edge, would be okay. And then they wouldn't have to come back here for variance on the setback.
So you would be correct normally. You're correct, except for the fact I've already got an attorney's opinion on the fact that when we go back to administrative, we can give those variances administratively because they're existing structures. They weren't existing structures, he's building it, and yes, you have to go back to council. But it doesn't in this case. I already got that run by the attorney.
Okay, you have questions?
I do. Why does the whole block have to be done?
Because it's illegal to just do one.
In the spot zone.
Except for law.
That's the law.
Wait.
Oh, well.
Well, so we can't get certain people to get favoritism to, but we can look at the block as a whole and say, this was
Okay. so
either
you-
wrongly done or should be done differently.
Yeah, to me, this is kind of fixing something that's already finished.
Right.
But the yoga, I mean, is that like, or it's cut back now, right?
Physical therapy.
So
I took all of the other.
I'll be up. So would that be commercial?
It is, he's operating commercial right now.
Should we put that, should that be our fine?
So all of our businesses versus our three and then work out, thinking that.
Oh,
one
but
piece-
that would be sponsored.
No, because it wouldn't be a rezone on that piece of property.
So, okay, well, I'll tell you how I'm planning to actually solve this. You're correct on far as that's because there was a business on that property.
I'm not trying to make it hard.
No, that's fine. It's because there was, first of all, they never did ask. He did, does Eppendorf actually live on that property? Does he live there? No,
It's not the main.
okay, okay, all right. So we could either classify it as a non-conforming use and have that still be as an R3 or yes, you could decide you want to zone that as an R5. The only issue is if you zone it, if you want that to be an R5 or somebody in council makes that suggestion, then we have to re-notify and the officer would lose at least 5 weeks. Yeah, it's a possibility. I'm not saying it's not that, I thought about suggesting R5, but I thought the R3 was cleaner, and then we just consider that use a non-conforming.
But that's a leased, chiropractor or whatever business right now, you guys own it. So if it's sold, that new person would have to come for a special use permit, then
They could
to be able to operate.
They could come for a special use permit.
Okay.
We would, I would say we. It should be.
Any other discussion? Do we have a motion?
I wasn't trying to make it hard.
And the officers are here to answer any questions that they have.
Well, I think keeping it R3 would give it more, keeping the charm as much as possible than just saying, hey, it's strictly commercial use now, you can do whatever the heck you want. So I think keeping it that is gonna basically do exactly what this is. It's a unique situation with a building that's been used for business for at least 18 years plus, I know, maybe longer. Unless you have the legal description versus what he's already been doing anyways.
Cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate y'all. Today, I don't have a lot to add. Ramona, I have a lot to add. Rob, you did more, and, yeah, we just want to keep the neighborhood the same. Nothing's gonna change at all. We're not gonna build a fence. It's just gonna be some lines on that, survey. And it'll be great. Craig is doing a great, whoever's making that building, it's always been holistic. It's always been something really good, so it's got a nice vibe to it. And then Sue, the woman living in the stucco house, is a senior citizen. She works at ATV still. If you go to ATV in Griffin Springs, she's the one getting all the nice hamburgers and stuff. But, and we want to keep it, you know, a place for her that's affordable. To stay, but you know, if we get older, we're gonna need, you know, stuff like that. And, we're both artists and, business. But I appreciate it. Thank you, Rick, for speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any more discussion or a motion? Okay. Andy makes a motion to approve the rezone from R2 to R3. We have a second? Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. It's approved. All right, so that'll go to council and they will make their decisions. So,
It'll go to council tomorrow. Normally it's a week in between, but because of the holidays, so tomorrow. So we'll see you there.
You're right.
all right.
Okay.
Now,
I was in the back. I was in the back. I got here at 6:30.
and y'all are. Deliveries there.
Well, we appreciate it.
Consideration, discussion, take possible action on approval of concept plan for Blanco River Run subdivision lot 4 and 5, Weber subdivision.
Thank you, planning commission chair, residents of Planco. So this is a request, and I'll kind of explain this. This came in about a month and a half ago. I did a subdivision of 6 lots and and also dedicating right of way as what we actually call in the ordinance an eyebrow. It's basically a small turnaround. So when this got submitted as a preliminary final together, but because it has 6 lots, not 5, it has 6 lots and it dedicates property, it cannot be a preliminary final together. And actually, the ordinance doesn't talk about a preliminary final, it talks about concept plat. So, I came in and then talked to, the engineer, Joe Grasso, and explained this is going to be a concept plan first. And then next month, you'll see it again as the final plat. So like a preliminary, it's basically concept and then final plat. So, this is 6 lots and it's an R1 designation. Currently, right now, it will be a replat of 2 lots. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you. 2 lots is 4 and 5 of this Weber or Weaver subdivision. Weber, sorry, okay, there you go, Weber. It says, you can see that it's kind of blue. And let me see about the zoning. It's R1. So you have a 100-foot width, 40-foot minimum front yard, 25 minimum backyard, and 15-minute minimum side yard. I'm gonna get to that in just a minute. Let's see if I can find the little zoning map. I think I should. So let's see. It is R1. Okay, so before we take a look at the project, so you might be asking, one of those lots is not 50-foot wide. So that is because with the creation of the eyebrow, you can actually have the cul-de-sac or eyebrow, the minimum lot frontage can be a 45-foot for low density. And so I'll go ahead and show you what it actually looks like. See a minute here, bear with me.
This is what they wanted.
This is what they want it to look like. So they've submitted similar stuff for final, but I'm not including that because they submit drainage plans, and they submit some other stuff. But this what they want to look like. So these are all 100-foot wide, but I believe this one is as well. But there are going to be 2 lots that are not going to be 100-foot wide, which is lot 5A, and I believe applicants here, so he explains some lease thing, and then there's another lot here. So, but that eyebrow rule allows for something that's smaller than 100-foot wide. That will consider the front. So, this does meet all the requirements based on, and the only issue was that I just showed you right here. It's 2 lots, but you do meet all the requirements for the concept plan at this point. And I believe the applicants here, John, you said what you said. If you have any questions, okay, or me.
And so they would just do a driveway down the skinny strip to the building.
Also shared driveway, or sorry.
So that existing structure is there.
Correct.
And then it looks like the driveway kind of goes on the other lot that you're trying to, at the bottom.
That's right. We're going, that driveway exists.
And would you change the driveway?
Yeah, we're gonna keep it in
Okay.
place.
And then the one on the bottom, you're just doing another new driveway to the back?
No, we're gonna do a shared.
Okay.
And there'll be an easement that's recorded with the plat to allow joint use of that driveway, the existing driveway. So there won't be another driveway onto River Road.
So really, I would just be building 1, 2, or 5 houses because there's already the existing.
There's an existing home, there's 6 lots, there could potentially be 6 houses there. Lot 6A would be a separate lot, but it would share the same driveway as lot 5A.
So you would also build on a 5A?
If I can. But, yeah, 5A exists, this home this year. This is the existing driveway for that home. This is also a lot, 6A. And then this could have a home on it, but it will share this existing driveway. So those are two, and then there is.
So I guess what I was asking, you're not gonna build anything else on 5A, are you?
No.
Okay, that's what that was.
Yes, sorry. And, just so you know, I'm John Bissett, and I have with me tonight Bill Polkinghorn, Jim Polkinghorn, and Ann Conley. And we are also the owners. We developed the Green Lawn Project. We have a house there right now. It's for sale. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but so we're not unfamiliar with Vico. Bill lives on the property. That's his home on 5A, and then the three of us live in Hayes County.
Does this already have an agreement with the city, or is this the very first that's come to us? I don't recall seeing this one.
This is the first time it's coming to you.
Do we know what the minimum, what you're building? Like, is it square footage you're building?
But we're in the R1 zoning category, so whatever the requirements are in the city code of comply with that. We don't plan on building any like small homes. I mean, they're going to be probably pretty nice homes.
So I'm gonna jump in. R1 requires, a 33,000 square foot lot. But there's no minimum home size, 32,500, sorry about that. So it's basically 1 acre, 1 unit, and all of these lots are at least that size, but there's no minimum lot size, or excuse me, minimum house size on this property.
Can I just say something here? I live on the other side of the property. There are deed restrictions.
I was gonna ask that.
What's your name?
It's Martha Godfrey. And I think it's like 1,300 square foot minimum. I guess.
So they would, y'all would still, the Weber subdivision, y'all would still be under the same deed restrictions as the, yeah. And have y'all been in this property, the Green Lawn property? They built a really nice product.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I think though, I mean, this is just a comment for the generals. People are concerned about the water, the infrastructure, you know, we got all these homes going on, and I don't think people are hearing what will make them feel comfortable that the city is making adjustments for the new home build. So what are we doing for that? So people can hear that
Well,
information.
we actually have 600 acre feet of water, and we use about 345 acre feet of water. The problems we've been having with Canyon Lake with Texas Water are a delivery issue, not a capacity issue. Now, we can argue that we don't have enough water, but it's actually not by right, it's by delivery. So we've estimated that, I'm not saying we want to, I'm just saying we estimated that another 250 taps that are being given as per the actual water that we actually are supposed to have. Now, it's Cardinal, I know. So what law is different than what currently can handle, but if you average, look at the average house takes 4,000 gallons. And that's the average we've looked at, about 4,000 gallons. This will take up about 24,000 gallons a month. That's an average billing when we put in this up. So we have more than enough on that. Yeah.
May I interject?
You may.
That's where our contract with Texas Water, which is also in Candy Lake, which is also surface water, as it goes down, their ratio to us goes down from zero, not from Candy, not from Texas Water, but from our 600 acre feet there, that will go down.
I agree.
So until we have something other than the surface water to depend on,
let me say that, I can answer with assurance that we actually have more than enough water for this project. We're not talking about a 100 lot subdivision, we're not talking about, you know, a multifamily project with 100 units, we're talking about 600.
Well,
Really five.
what are the restrictions if, you know, yeah, it's an acre property, but if these are pretty nice homes, I know that my build order, they want to irrigate, you know, their acre. They want to have all the latest greatest, they all want a pool as well, so I think we need to look at it more than just, you know, a conservative family, you know, being very conservative in how they're using their water versus what a custom home and what people are really here for. Those are things to look at. It's going to be a small sum. What are the restrictions in place to make sure, or do we need to add something that would be in the deed restriction that we, you know, make sure that they do rainwater collection, do something that offset the pull. You know, the biggest thing out here is people want property and they want acreage. Most people that have lived here for many years don't want subdivision. That's why they moved here. Obviously, this is a kind of a quaint little one, kind of like the one that I'm in. I live here for the convenience of the ranch, but I'm not trying to develop a subdivision for that reason because I don't want to take them and I have to chop it up. But people have the right to do more or less what they want to do and present it to us. So what would we put in place to say, what are we getting out of it? What are you going to do to safeguard this?
Well, I'm not going to move on rainwater collections from the state. I'm going to move on.
Wow, in the city.
Since when? Well, you can irrigate with it. You can't.
Correct.
You can irrigate with it. You can't plumb it to your house.
Correct.
My thing is, if the city is that concerned about water, then they need to put a moratorium on this. Because it's not fair for people to come forward and have the right to build on their property. Like, they have every right to build this project. And then as they know, because we're worried that possibly more projects are gonna come and we're not gonna have enough water. Like, this is 5 zones and they're gonna take a while to build. I know Greenlawn, they got approved a year ago, but they built 1 house and nobody lived in it. So this project's gonna take a while and I see no reason to deny it.
Well, I said we do talk about development a lot. And I think sometimes we need to look at what the right development is. And doing slow 5 development seems to make more sense to me than doing much larger projects. So, you know, this seems like easier way for us to handle 1 capacity, 2 growth. I think this makes sense in terms of more manageable projects.
I've been calling for a moratorium, so.
So I'm gonna say something. I've actually, at the community I lived in before, I actually recommended to the council to have a moratorium. And I did that because there was all certain taps that could actually be, acquired or actually, you know, but we need to build another well, and it would take X amount of months to get that done. This is not that case. I mean, we actually have, to the rights, and I know what a really rough summer, but I do agree, that this development is a smaller development, and yeah, I get that water is really precious, but we actually do have water.
Then why don't I have the water my yard?
It's where I'm under stage 3.
Why are we-
Stage 3 restrictions right
Okay.
But that has nothing to do with development, though. That's to do with a temporary issue that we're having with a provider. And I'm done discussing that because we really need to move on from that. This is a concept plan.
Okay, so beyond water, what other conversations do we have about this?
Are we building a floodplain?
Well, that's for them to.
Yeah,
Deal with this, the administration.
We'll have to
It's
see
not
that.
for us to-
Yeah, go ahead and
because
go.
it's just not our church.
So I can address that. So there is an existing floodplain or existing FEMA farm map that shows where the 100-year floodplain is. However, it's not current because they have not used the Atlas 14 precipitation rates. So we ran a water model to determine where the 100-year floodplain was. And it's shown, I don't know that it's shown in this particular map, it's shown on the other one. So the front 4 lots are in the floodplain, but there's an ample area outside of the floodplain for building.
Toward that back.
Yeah.
That's what I saw.
Okay.
Yeah, I studied them. I really did. I called your name.
Can I get your name again? And your last name?
Two sets.
Oh, excuse me, that was your name.
DOUCDT.
I don't know if it shows here.
We have some flood maps, and you'll see that in the final plan.
You know, and technically the other two lots, the driveway to the foot. It has access to River Road.
Zone X is zone X. Zone Y.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He's about to run it up there.
Zone A is. Zone N.
Where to go?
Oh.
All right, thank you. So what other questions, conversation we have on this? Concerns, you know, a lot of these thoughts for community, thoughts for the development.
You know, I'm gonna agree with Julie on the idea of approving this, and letting people have the rights to do what they want. I get it. The difference is that you start with this, it's gonna happen, or it's gonna happen more, and before you know it, you're in a town that has hundreds of, 6-lot subdivisions everywhere. If that's what we're gonna have, that's what we're gonna have. But this is the opportunity right now to direct and plan that in the proper way, so that if that's not what the town and the general public wants, then we have an opportunity to slow it down, put it off, and of course, obviously, if we approve it, hopefully direct it and make sure it goes to plan the way that they're intending it to. So I get it, and give people the rights, but these are important things. I don't want to see 5 more homes right now. I take care of that river right now. I do free of charge. I've been off the highway there for, I guess, almost 6 years legally, taking care of it for almost 18 years myself, just because we go down there and hang out. And I guarantee that, 6 more homes there could be good or a bad thing for that area. And a lot of things affect it. So, I think we do need to be very selective. And I don't feel bad about saying no either, because I've been here almost 18 years. I don't really care about developers coming. I don't. But I do understand your point that, if I was the one in the position, I'd like to get things approved and to be able to financially be more successful in my line of work, then I understand that. But I think it's important that we don't just let them do what they want to do. This has been beautiful the way it's been for many years. And, it is what it is.
They live in the house that's existing, so it's not like they're outside developers coming in and doing things. Like they care about.
He lives in Hayes.
I actually live there. He's one of our partners. He lives there. Okay, how long do you live there? 3 years. Okay. So you're in the town.
So let me mention something. I get what everybody's saying here. And I'm gonna quote the state law. State law basically says that if a subdivision plat meets all the requirements of the local jurisdiction, you have to approve it unless you can prove that there isn't enough utility, water or sewer. So, in this case, there is water and sewer availability. And my suggestion to people that don't want development, talk to council members, talk about maybe making it harder, but not for this person because this person came first, but we're gonna look at restrictions on the UDC. But for this particular project, we have to prove it because it meets all the requirements.
And I agree with Warren, if there's 250 taps still available, they're still available. And we can't just select, no, you can't have it. Now, if the development had a whole lot of non-conforming issues, then potentially, that could be a reason, but if he's conforming, there's only 250 taps available.
Oh, I agree with that. I'd rather
Sort of
approve. I'd rather let them take up some of those 250 and a pretty thing like this versus send it to someone else for, section 8 or whatever it may be. And I get that, but if it's brought to us in the first place, but they can already get it approved, that seems like a waste of time for us.
I think that's my question. It's just a rookie question because I'm new, but it comes to us because if we can't say no, it comes to us just as a courtesy.
Comes to you because the state law says it has to. Local government 212, Texas local government 212 says that any plats that dedicate easements or right of way have to come to council. Because the planning commission comes to planning commission first. So for example, this had 5 lots with no dedication, it would come to you. It's frustrating that the plot's a shallow creek as per the state, but other things are not shallow creek. Zone changes aren't shallow creek, special use permits aren't, variances aren't, but plats are when they,
No, that's what I was just asking. If that was granted the deed restrictions, does it allow for further subdivision of the first recorded plat?
so.
That'll be, yeah, easy as possible.
Well, then, I mean, we shouldn't be approving the concept
so-
if it's not legal.
So,
Yeah, we
yeah,
have
so
to-
the city council made a statement at, when we look at the UDC changes, and I have requested as administrator to look at title reports and deed restrictions, and it was stated they did not want to require deed restrictions or title reports at time of filing because we don't review deed restrictions. That's all I mean, that's all.
That's for his legal staff.
The deed restrictions allow for. So
I mean, that was,
we take that.
yeah, I figured you knew.
No,
But now,
the lot size is covered by the zoning code.
Yeah. but now is our time for the concept plan to state no short-term rentals for the 6 lots. Yeah, but assuming we haven't looked at their deed, because we don't look at the restrictions.
Well, we already know because they
Yeah.
came for us for that road that in the Weber subdivision, it's in their restriction for no short-term rental.
It was in their deed restrictions that they're not allowed to have short-term rental. But again, the city doesn't,
Yeah.
but it got voted down. I can't remember why it got voted down, but
I think to keep the ambiance of their little neighborhood there. If someone bought one from them later down the road, and wanted a short term, if they have to come to us for a permit, we could.
That's not our.
Does anybody want to make a motion here?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? Okay. Motion is to. Yeah.
That's it.
One, two.
It doesn't matter.
Item.
so city council tomorrow at 6 o'clock.
Thank you. Okay, so real quick, I just want to get through the last few things. Consideration and discussion for sign ordinance. I think y'all still need to meet before we even make progress on that. So if y'all can find some sort of a time to get together and discuss. Again, get with Marissa, decide when y'all want to get together. Does anybody have anything else that they want to do? Okay, on the side then. We'll just invite in general. If you've got any notes about things that you want looked at on the side ordinance, please make sure you get them to Julie. We have a motion. All right.
To adjourn?
We will get out of here at 7:18.